If you've ever felt that your photography would improve if you just bought one more lens, I've been learning photography for the last 5 years, and one of the biggest things slowing me down wasn't my camera, it was gear acquisition syndrome. I talk about the mistakes I've made, the money I've spent, and what actually helped me improve. For a beginner or still learning like me, this might save you time, money, and frustration. I'll talk about what gear acquisition syndrome actually looks like, why new gear doesn't fix bad photos, the mindset that helped me improve, and what actually matters more than equipment. If you're on your own photography journey, consider subscribing. This channel is all about learning, improving, and getting a little bit better every year. My first camera I bought was a Lumix G85 made by Panasonic. I used the camera for about 6 to 8 months, and then I saw a video by a photographer who was using the Lumix G9, and that's when gas got a grip on me. I immediately went and bought the G9 and started using that. I used it a lot in the beginning, but over the next few weeks I just didn't enjoy using the camera. I also I was watching other videos, and I was seeing, guys with full frame and APS-C and all the benefits of each one and blah, blah, blah. And then I went and bought a Fuji X100F. I used that for a while, and then didn't like the fact that it was a fixed lens camera, and I wanted to have a interchangeable lens camera. So I sold that, and I bought the Fujifilm X-T20, and I still have that camera today. I really enjoy that camera. I love it. But I was still buying things. I don't know. Every time I watched the video and the guy came up with something, a tripod or a lens, and I would buy it. And in the end, I ended up with like 7 Fujifilm lenses, and I was maybe only using 2 or 3 of them regularly. Then I bought the Fujifilm X-T3, and after buying it, I realized, number one, it was only 2 megapixels bigger, the sensor. The sensor was only 2 megapixels bigger. And it was a heavier camera, and it was a bigger camera. I used that for a while, and I decided to sell it. Then I decided to go full frame like a pro. And I sold my Fujifilm X-T3, and I sold all my Fuji lenses except my kit lens, the Fujifilm 18 to 55mm f2.8 to I think it's f4. Kept that. Went out and I bought a Sony A7 II and an A7 R2. I don't know why, it's just my brain just rotted, I reckon. And bought that, used that for a while, and decided, nah, I'm selling this. Today I'm still stuck with the, I think it's the 70-240 lens for the Sony FE system. After the Sony, during this time I started getting into film cameras as well, and I was buying, I've got a Nikon FE, I've got a Canon AE1 program, I've got a Olympus OM1. I've got a Minolta SRT 101, and I've got a Pentax 645 medium format film camera. And after all this buying and things like that, I decided I've got to cut down on this stuff. And today I only have I have the Fujifilm X-T20 with the 18-55 lens. I've got a couple of TTR lenses for that. I've got the Canon EOS R full frame camera, which I'll be selling soon. And I've got a GR, a Ricoh GR. Not the new ones, I've got the older versions, the 14 megapixel version, which is over 10 years old, maybe 12 or 14 years old. I don't exactly know, but I've got one of those that I still have. And then I've still got a couple of point and shoots, which I don't really use, and I suppose I'll eventually get rid of those. But my point is, you don't need better gear. You need better habits. Don't spend your money on cameras and lenses unless you absolutely need it. If you're a professional and you're shooting a certain genre, I understand. Buy the camera that suits the job you're doing. But if you're just an amateur like me, I shoot everything. I shoot mundane things. I shoot landscapes, seascapes, street photography, abstract. What's his one? Macro. I shoot all that, but I can do that with my X-T20. I don't need anything else. I use my Olympus EM1 Mark II for video. And I've got a Pocket 2 for vlogging when I go out, which I hardly use. And I have a GoPro 7, which I do use occasionally. So what you have to remember is the newer cameras have all these features, these electronic features, and which half of, I would say more than half of which I for one don't need. I don't need continuous eye detect and dog tracking and vehicle tracking and all this type of thing, because that's not the photography I do. If I was a pro and I needed to have a camera that does all that, I'll buy it. But buying a camera for sake of a 60 megapixel sensor, or because it's got AI this or AI that, well, that just doesn't make sense. Having limitations can actually make you more creative, in my opinion. And my advice to you is pick one camera and learn everything about that camera. Learn how to use it, so you don't even have to look at the dials or the menus and all that type of thing. I'm still trying to do that. I'm still learning that, because I still have, like I say, I have the Olympus for the video, I have my Fuji, and I have the Canon. The other thing I would do is I would rather use that money to invest in something like books. Like this is a book on composition I bought. That type of thing. I've learned a lot from that. Or spend it on going on a trip. Go to, a little town, maybe 50 kilometers away from you, 100 kilometers away from you. Book an hotel for a night or two. Spend that $200-300 and take photos there and enjoy yourself. But spending money to buy a new camera nowadays, a decent new camera, you're looking at over $2,000. And that is a lot of money for a camera. If you look at the basics, a camera is just a box with a shutter. You know, the old film cameras, you put the film in, you put your lens on, you set your ISO or ASA as it was in those days, and the only other thing you did was meter for your shot and compose and shoot. There wasn't any fancy, IBIS and all that type of thing. So I'm slowly trying to get rid of my gas, and I will one day, but I would say think about it. And if it's your decision. If you want to spend $3,000-4,000 on a camera, that's your decision. If you've got the money, well and good, but I wouldn't. So that's about all I have to say for now. If you like what you've seen, give us a like, and I will see you next time. Thanks.